Hey YouTube, this is Tobal, and I'm going to be playing X Rebirth today. A couple more days this week until X4 releases, I believe on Friday, the 30th. So trying to get myself back in the X universe spirit, remind myself what the universe is like, what the lore is like, and I really haven't touched this game since it got launched um, way back, and it, had some bug issues. Anyone who is a fan of EgoSoft will tell you that that's generally the case, but they do stick with it. Have heard good things about the patches that have come out, and really just haven't touched it in a long time. So I figure we may as well got a couple more days to power through here. So I'm going to start a new campaign, and I do have the couple of the DLCs. I believe it's Home of Light and possibly Talati Outpost installed. As well as a bunch of mods, so just the Butter series of mods, a couple things that make life a little bit easier when you're in the game, so a little bit less micromanagement or less extra clicks. So we're going to just start a new game and go right into free play because, like a lot of people, I like to kind of earn my way up. So we're just going to be starting with the Albion Skunk on normal. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the X series is a space 4 times, so like explore, exploit, trade, whatever you want to call it. You basically can do anything you want. You can be a trader, you can be a fighter, you can build stations, you can own massive fleets. Then you can set your stations up to basically be self-sufficient and trade. So right out of the gate here, looks like we're right next to a cop somewhere. It's right next to a big, huge station. So I'm going to fly away from this here for just a second. I'm going to hit the station first, then we're going to fly away from it. Perfect. So X4 was a pretty big, or sorry, X Rebirth. It was a pretty big jump from the old X series of games. Like, the ideas stay the same in terms of trading, in terms of some of the lore, but just the scale of everything has just shifted. So instead of a bit of a smaller station, you've got this monstrosity of a station, which I think it's great, and it really adds a sense of scale. Some of the, I guess, the scenes that you're in aren't really realistic, so you'll come across a system where you're, tucked in between a bunch of broken asteroids or right up against a sun. So some of those are a little bit strange, but I mean, the station overall feel amazing. I mean, you feel like a tiny little speck compared to some of these stations. So we're playing free play. Lots of stuff we can start doing here. And I think we're going to start off by just looking for some missions on the job board. And so I'm going to pull up with the little tilde key, I'm going to pull up a couple of things here. The bulletin board, and it shows me the active jobs. So we will just go ahead and give this person a transport here. Pretty easy to do.
I hope you thought this through. Failure wouldn't look good for either of us.
It's kind of nice. I don't know if it ever did that. And a lot of things, for those of you who play this and are super high speed at this game, I'm definitely going to be far behind. So I don't know if some of these things are from the patches or from a mod, but the idea that it shows you the full trip there in the briefing was kind of nice.
I've no real choice, but neither can I afford any mistakes here.
Alright. So this person needs a pickup.
Station
and we've got the little HUD indicator. Now this could be something that I don't even know how to do yet, but I still think you have to dock completely with the station, go find the person, tell them to get on your ship, as opposed to just coming nearby and radioing them. But we'll go ahead and pull up, hit Shift D to dock.
Skunk. Requesting permission to dock.
Docking permission granted.
And that's the one thing I hope that in X4, it's insanely loud too, let me get away from this area. In X4 I do hope that they change up the interior of the station. Like, it was kind of neat. It got really old really quick because most of the stations look exactly the same. Excuse me. And here's our person for transport.
I'll give you 2 minutes and no more.
And apparently they're just gonna warp off to the ship.
Yeah, I'm aboard. How to does your co-pilot cope with the smell of sweaty male clothing back here?
Wow. Harsh. All right. So we've got our angry passenger on board.
Attention, today there is a sale in the fashion shop on level 9.
I forgot I even had this mod on. This is the, I don't think it's even on here. I thought I had, yeah, here it is. Station announcements. I was so confused to hear noise in here. Alright, so we've got our passenger, and we need to head over to... Take a look at the mission. Commercial port. It's the one thing they changed around from X3. If anyone's played X3, it's the menu system is a lot less intuitive, so you kind of have to go digging a bit more. And in X3, everything was just kind of right there. So they use these highways in X Rebirth, and I don't know if they're going to be bringing highways back or not. But these basically get you from, I think it's called sector or system. Let's take a look. We're in the sector of Far Out, which is in the system of Albion, right? So each system has multiple sectors, and the sectors you get to by using these space highways, for lack of a better term, where you have to dodge people in the middle of your tunnel here. And it used to be everything was connected by gates, so you'd have basically one scene, I guess, like one area that had a bunch of stations and NPCs in it, and then you would gate and jump over to the next scene or the next area, section or whatever you might call it. So this is kind of a little bit more unique in that it connects the entire area together with these highways, and it does feel a bit smoother. So we've got the sectors highway or sector highways, and then the system jump gates here. This big blue line is kind of like a massive connection to the next system over, which apparently we don't even know because we can't even scan it. So we got off one highway, and we have to take another one to get around. Got about 5 minutes to get this person over, so we'll jump in there. It's not the worst system in the world. It does kind of feel like you're... I don't know. I know they made a couple changes in the lore to explain why these jump gates are in place now, and it kind of fractured the X story and the X universe a bit. So I wouldn't mind in X4 if you're able to kind of get up in the middle of flying around and kind of go into the ship. It would give that feeling of like, you're in a big spaceship and you're traveling through space, and it's going to take some time. So like being able to get out of the seat and go to your crew cabin would be kind of interesting. So we're going to head over here, drop this person off, which you do have to dock to do that. And yeah, I think for the start of the game, it's really just a couple of, doing missions as you go. It used to be a little bit easier. You could, hit a button and then see all the wares for one station. It's a little bit more complex now to find trading goods. You have to and again, I could be wrong because a lot of these I've not seen since I played the game. Some stations are offering deals like, oh hey, we have an excess of 3,000 food, and some stations are have a need for that food, or they say, hey, we're short of 5,000 units of beds or something like that. And so that's how you could do bulk trading deals. Otherwise, I believe you actually have to go into your comm and literally call someone to trade goods, which just...
Hello, pal.
It doesn't seem intuitive. and it really just doesn't feel like it's all that smooth. So I haven't really explored trading too much. The nice thing is that much like X3, once you have a big freighter, you can order that captain to do trading on their own. So they'll find deals, they'll find the best prices in the areas, and then go from there and make you money. So kind of like the old X3 did. Terran TC, Terran something conflict, and Albion Prelude.
Excellent. We both get a boost from the success.
All right, that's our first mission. There's nobody around here I want to talk to, so I'll go back in the ship. And the one thing, if you're not familiar with X Rebirth, a lot of changes were made between the X3 and X Rebirth. So one of the things that a lot of people didn't like was the fact that you only ever get to pilot one ship. It's this Albion Skunk. You can still own other ships and command other ships. So you can buy a giant freighter and give it commands and tell it to do stuff. You can have a fleet of ships, but from what I understand, unless they've changed this in a DLC or anything like that, I don't think they did, you're always basically flying from the Skunk. It can get upgraded, it can become a pretty powerful ship, but it was a pretty big blow for a lot of fans that just love to, I mean, you could pilot anything in X3, from a tiniest one-person fighter to a giant freighter to a battleship or cruiser, whatever you want to call it. So they are bringing that back in X4. That was one of the big selling points. Let's see, we got 2 transports here. Let's take a look and see if they are at all in the same area.
Are you really up to doing this?
Metalworks Yard, PMC Metalworks Yard, which is in a completely different... Well, holy crap, this is a long one. It looks like it's 4 systems away.
Goodbye.
I think even you can't make a mess of this one.
And this one looks like it's one thing away, one jump away. I kind of want to explore a little bit, so let's go ahead and grab the long transport.
Are you really up to doing this?
And we are just going to have to do this pretty quick. I don't know. 5 minutes to pick them up, and then the timer resets. Once you pick someone up, I believe it resets to get between your objectives. So hopefully it'll give us a little bit of time to start exploring all these gates. As far as I know, there's also only one speed. Well, that's actually not true. There's one speed when you're in the gateways, in these highways. But when you have a bigger ship, you can do a direct jump. So I could, in theory, instead of taking all these hyperspace things, I could jump between, I don't know if it's between sectors or systems or not. I just know you definitely can make a jump, make it faster.
Requesting permission to dock.
Docking permission granted. Welcome aboard.
So it'll be a little bit of exploring in this game too. I just haven't really gone back into it ever since launch. Played launch, had a lot of bugs, a lot of issues at launch. Kind of gave up on it and haven't touched it since. So it'll be nice to see some of this right before X4 to really see the comparisons between X Rebirth and X4.
All right, and I'll sit back here.
You also, I believe, can... Shortcut, leave platform, Shift D. Okay, so you can hit Shift D wherever you're at on the station to instantly warp back to your ship. And you can also hit Escape to cancel some of those automations, so it does come in handy. These little things that are kind of above platforms, I believe they... Like, there's 2 ways you can mess with stations here. Is you can do an overall scan of a station.
Calibrating HUD.
So as you scan the station, you get more information about it. I do have a mod that here in a second it's going to scan everything, so you don't have to fly by every single subsection of a station. I believe it. I don't remember if it gives you better trade deals, if it gives you better
Resetting HUD and scan.
opinion. I don't think it does anything with faction. I love that you can hear the station announcements through your ship in space. That's hilarious. That might be a mod I have to turn off. Hearing station announcements while you're in your ship away from a station is a bit strange. So yeah, we got 7 minutes to, I think, go full, like, 3 systems over. So that's going to be fun. I imagine, I kind of wonder if this mission was specifically for somebody who had a jump-capable ship. So in theory, you've already explored that area, so you just, you know, engage your jump drive, and you can immediately make that transition. I guess we'll find out if we fail it here. Oh gosh. So if you're unfamiliar with Rebirth, they did have most of the same races that they did before. You still have the Talati, the Spit. I think the Xenon still make an appearance. I'm not 100% sure. Xenon was the big alien faction that appeared in X3. So here we're going to take this sector jump gate. One of the other things that they said is coming here in X4 is going to be seamless transitions between zones. I think everything. They've claimed that it's going to be seamless through everywhere. So you're going to be able to,
Entering the third Duke.
you know, walk into a station, walk up your gangplank on the ship, come into your captain's quarters, or go to your, you know, main deck, fly to another big ship that has a hangar, land in it. You know, everything is supposed to be seamless. So we will see about that. This is one of those scenes that I mentioned that's just kind of awkward. Like, you've got all these people set up between dangerous floating asteroids, but it does make for some pretty stunning views. Alright, so we've got 5 minutes. I don't think we're going to make this mission. I think this definitely was made for someone who has a jump drive. So we'll see what happens when we fail. Unless we're able to get lucky and hit another jump gate right out at this corner. Leave highway now. Oh, apparently it definitely wasn't even as far as I thought it was. Awesome. It was only one system and one sector over here. Cool. Made life a little easy. For some reason, the way the preview of the mission looked, it seemed like we were going to be going through quite a few jumps, so that's nice that we didn't have to compete for that. Alright, and we're going to dock up here.
Very nice. I knew you
I'm going to hit escape a couple times to kind of transition through these. So this is about as much as you can walk around, as far as I know. Now, when you get a capital ship, there is a mod that I've got installed that does let you walk around the bridge of the capital ship. So if you buy a huge destroyer or a huge freighter, you can walk around the bridge of that ship. I believe the Albion Skunk would land on it. So you would literally land, and you would come out and be in the docking bay of your big, huge ship that you own. And then you could walk all the way to the bridge. So that's kind of cool. I hope that that feature, that kind of a feature, would keep around in X4 or be expanded on. I mean, it's just a neat idea. I love the idea of being able to go to your cabin, you know, sit down. Just I think it's a lot of it stems from, you know, sci-fi, watching Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, you know, chat and play Sabak or whatever it was, you know, while they're just in the middle of hyperspace, because space is big, right? It takes a while to go from point A to point B. So we have, let's take a look here. We have 800,000 credits. People like us. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bulletin board again. 2 deliveries and another transport. I do like transport missions because they're pretty straightforward. You pick someone up, you move them from point A to point B, and at the start of the game, you really don't have your map explored at all. So really need to get rid of station announcements. I think that's going to be rough. I'm going to try to disable this here. I don't know if it's going to make me reset or not. Yeah, it would make me restart. All right.
Security would like to remind
God,
all
that's
visitors
hilarious.
to keep their children with them at all times.
So, when you first start the game and you don't have anything explored, it is kind of rough because you don't know a lot of trade routes, you don't know where to go, you don't know what sectors you're looking at or systems. Um, so again, system-wise, everything, and you can go higher up to the galaxy as well. So we've got the galaxy of Albion, and then the systems of Ascendancy and Far Out, and then the different sectors within those. So that's how it all breaks down. And it is kind of nice once you have them all explored, you can make more informed decisions about trading and missions and how far something will take you to go. See if we can't get in a fight down here. Looks like this is Xenon. If you see the informational panel there in the bottom right hand corner, and they're gonna blow up. You can see that the rude. Apparently the Xenon just really don't like this ship. Out of all the other ships floating around, they decided to fight me. I also had a mod, if you heard it, it immediately picked up cargo, so it's a huge range, and it automatically picks up any cargo that's been ejected, which is nice, except sometimes you get illegal property. And because this thing is so strong, as soon as you drop cargo, it'll instantly pick it back up again. So that gets to be a headache when you're getting pursued by the cops because you have space weed. So we're going to take a look at the board again. There's another transport.
I'm worried I'm sending you and my cut on the road to failure.
Another sector within the same system. So that sounds pretty easy.
Give it your best shot.
Alright.
Which had better be good enough.
God, everyone's so sassy in this game. All the NPCs are like... There's one that you'll walk up to in a station and they're like, "It's good to see you." Not. It's like, really? You gotta be like that?
Added to ship computer database.
Space is already stressful enough.
Station information added to ship computer database. Module information retrieved.
Okay,
Now
so
shut up,
coming up,
Betty.
got a dock. So angry. Everyone's so angry in space.
This is the Albion skunk. Requesting permission.
Let's play the Find the NPC minigame. I kind of wonder if you could calm them from here. Let's see. Who's our person? Val Perret? Okay, so I apparently cannot contact Val Perret, who is our person that we want to pick up. So there's no way to just calm them and say, "Hey, we're here, come on board." And I like that they wanted you to walk around the stations a bit. It just, you know, with everyone basically being stationary on the station and not moving, it got just tiresome and a little awkward. There's like just people hanging out in different rooms. Oh, hey, I haven't seen this before. How fancy. Good to know that jails haven't been improved in 1,000 years in space travel. Alright. Running back to find Val.
I didn't expect to hear from you.
You literally hired me. Alright. We'll get him on board. I'm gonna hit Shift D to warp back to my ship.
Where's the bar?
We're poor, sir. We didn't have a bar. Let's try to get out of here without smashing the station. And I guess I should, while I'm here and I've got a couple minutes, I'm gonna... This tilde button, by the way, is really useful if you don't want to mess with some like there's another context menu, I believe it's Y, and it comes up with this neat little central menu. So you can either do that to get to some of the same options. So like bulletin board, right? Well, bulletin board was from the tilde menu. Bulletin board was over here as well. Different number, so that could be annoying. I kind of like this side system. This is much more familiar with how, what the hell?
We're finished, thanks. Nothing to report means no paperwork. A win all around.
Oh my gosh. Alright, so space police have scanned our ship. We're good to go. But this is more like how X3 worked. You know, you pressed a button, you pressed your number,
Calibrating HUD.
and you got your options. So some of these you can memorize and make it pretty quick to get to. So I'm going to let this mod take over and scan the whole thing. It scanned the wrong one. That's fine. Can we scan this? It's kind of a neat little mini game, I guess. I don't quite remember. I think it does unlock trade deals, if I remember right.
Pilot, just relax and we'll get this scan done quickly.
You literally just scanned me. All right, we're moving on.
Show clear of contraband.
Of course.
Thank you for your time.
Resetting HUD
Turn
and
the HUD
scanners.
off and get back to the highway or driveway. So on launch day, I definitely do plan to be simultaneously streaming this and recording on YouTube. Not this, but X4 once it's out, barring any CTD issues, crashing to desktop constantly. I do hope, I think they're still using the X Rebirth engine, right? So it's the same basic engine, and because I think this was, you know, apart from some awkward scenery, I mean, the scale with which, you know, everything is in this game here looks fine. So I think they could reuse this engine, and I think they are to a point. They're redoing the artwork, they're redoing some of the lore, some of the locations. Actually, off in the distance, that symbol you just saw in the distance there, that light, I believe was a jump drive. So I think these ships just jumped in. We'll go take a look at these guys real quick, because we have 5 minutes for this mission. But these are some of the big, huge traders that you can buy as a player in the game. Whoa.
Cargo secured and hold.
Suddenly dusty and nebula-like. I think that ship over there is destroyed, actually. It's pretty crazy. So we've got a mining ship. This is the Fed helm. You can dock on these, I believe. There's a little symbol there. So I can dock if I wanted to, which is kind of neat. Let's go take a look at this big wreck here. This could have been a pirate ship that was destroyed, or it could be... Well, this makes me think this is like a historic buoy or something. When a big ship gets destroyed, it is pretty impressive. The whole thing like goes nuclear, and there's a huge nova explosion, and it's kind of neat. So hopefully we can catch one of the pirate ships getting destroyed by the stations at some point in the future. I will not be getting in the middle of it because we will get crushed. So yeah, I was mentioning, hope that X4 uses some of the same engine and just changes some of the decision making so that, you know, you can fly any ship you want, but you still get station building, you can still buy ships and trade.
5 ways.
Those are the core components of what make an X game great. You know, that's always been a big thing is, do you want to be a trader? Cool, go trade, go buy a freighter. You literally can dedicate your entire time in this game and have a really in-depth game by just trading. You can make a station, you can tell your, you know, have your automated traders go out and do stuff. This is a syndicate ship. I don't know why the syndicate hauler is randomly showing up in this little area, but it is.
Cargo secured and hold.
It is getting its butt kicked by the station, though. We've got 2 minutes to drop this off. Let's go ahead and drop this guy off real quick and see if we can come back out before this thing blows up. It would be interesting to see if this fight that's happening stays happening while we're, you know, going to the station. So, sure enough, I think. There we go. The hell of a fight. Let's get stuck in here a little bit. Watch us get scanned in the middle of this fight because we picked up some illegal item. That's definitely my luck. One of my missiles that hit that guy. If we're looking for shields, they are in the kind of the lefter side of the HUD there. It's a little outline of a ship. I'll show you as soon as I can get my mouse back here. So he's built blown up. So right here is kind of the outline of the shield and energy bar, and this goes down when you're either using your boost or you're getting hit.
Cargo secured and hold.
Where's our big ship at? Still alive? Uh-oh. I think the big ship either jumped out or died. So flying through different systems and sectors and just basically pirate hunting is still a lucrative way to start the game if you're a combat person. I will definitely be using a mouse, or not mouse and keyboard, the joystick when I'm doing fighter work, but generally if I'm doing freighters I tend to stick to using just the mouse. It's just a little bit easier to control. There's not as much twitchy movement that you need to be concerned about.
Secured and hold.
And that looks like the remnants of our pirate friend over there. What is this? Or is that the pirate behind it? That actually might. Whoa. Someone's blowing up, I think.
It's been secured in storage.
This is again, I'm not sure if this is the same ship we saw. Some crazy explosions happening. I'm gonna back off just a bit. I don't know if that's a bug because of the massive explosions or what. I think we're gonna watch the demise of this harvester here, the Midir.
It's been secured in storage.
There's definitely some graphical artifacts going on. I don't want to start a fight too much because I feel like we start poking this squadron here, we're gonna get our butts kicked. It's a little weird, you know. Again, it's one of those little things that a game design thing that a safe trader can. This is like 10 kilometers off the station, and be getting pummeled by a massive trading ship. Because that's really what the pirate ship over here is. It's a trading ship. It's a bulk and liquid, you know, hauler, and the squadron of pirates are just kicking this big ship's ass. So. Alright, we are going to get to see an explosion here.
Profitable activity.
What's that? Another gate open. One explosion, and I think we get a follow-up.
It's been secured in storage.
Nope, alright. So, Sovereign ship is still flying around with its escort. Kind of curious to see what kind of goods we got. I want to hit a black market dealer and get rid of them if I can. Is it yellow is illegal?
Albion tobacco is a strong narcotic that has many medical
Illegal to Heart of Albion. I think we are in Heart of Albion space. Can honestly not tell you. I mean, we're in Albion in terms of the galaxy as a whole. So let's see. If the nice thing though, if you wind up having items in your hold and you're not sure how to get rid of them, you can click on it and find a trader. So this tells you, you know, any of these people is someone you can talk to. So I'm going to talk to this guy, and we are going to sell our illegal goods. What? What's happening? Wrong button. Change? Do I not have this? Oh, I don't. No, I have amphetamine sulfate.
Amphetamine sulfate, more
Okay, so this is
It's been
illegal. I
secured in
can't sell this to
storage.
anyone. There's no trader.
These chips.
I don't think any of the rest of this is illegal. Some of this. Is this illegal?
Plutonium dioxide.
God, this is crazy. I think some of these aren't necessarily illegal. It's that you have to have a
What can
license
you
to
possibly
sell
want?
this level of wear. So we're gonna get rid of this. like it's kind of a double-edged sword. I like, and by the way, that sound was a, I don't know if we can still spot it. It was like a tiny little drone that just took the cargo, and it's gonna go fly it off to the station where that person, the salesperson is, which is kind of neat. And when you have bigger ships, when you have a freighter, you'll see if you do a trade deal, you'll park up next to a station, and little tiny ships will come out and unload your freighter, which was pretty freaking adorable when you first saw it.
Calibrating
It's a nice thing, a nice effect I think they had, and I hope they keep some of the things like that. Just the little quality of life things that make you feel like you're part of a living universe, definitely are what make some of the things in the X series really strong. You know, they're really attractive.
HUD and scanners.
Scanner deactivated.
Let me see if I can find it. There is a, well, right here. Here's an example. This is like a little traffic way, right? So you've got just a couple ships just flying around through their paces, doing their thing. The police will come in and inspect them. Occasionally you'll find a syndicate or some red faction, someone that's red to you, and you literally can blow them out of line and kill them. But you'll see traffic patterns like this around every station. So it's like you'll see like a line of, right here, we got a line of ships going from point A to point B. Pretty amusing, to be honest, because you can fly everywhere you want, but these folks are apparently not good enough, so they're stuck in line. But it really does make the world, I mean, look at all the ships on radar that are flying around. It makes this galaxy kind of feel pretty well populated. So one of the things that I've always loved about the X series is you kind of feel really immersed in the universe, and I don't think they would take that away in X4, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. So we still have we don't want the cops to get really close to us, to be honest. We don't want to get scanned. I'm gonna burn away a little bit. See what other illegal items we picked up on accident.
Teladiane. Silicate. Also called tool level AGI.
God, there's so many illegal items. I almost want to turn that mod off. It's a great mod. It's the mod that lets you fly by looting, I think. It basically will just scoop up things that are nearby you instead of you having to, like, you know, directly go over a piece of loot, which was troublesome in the long, you know, it's a lot of items you'd have to wind up running into or coming next to. This mod just kind of gets it all together. The downside, of course, is if you've got illegal items, it's going to start sucking them up like a vacuum, and then you're stuck with them. So if I were to dump my amphetamines, I don't know, we'll see how fast we can do this. I'm going to hit OK, it's going to dump it, I'm going to burn away from this area. Oh god. We might see...
It's been secured in
Yep.
storage.
So that's the problem, is that this mod is so good, it's got such a huge range, you can't even escape the items that you're trying to dump. Try that one more time at full speed. Go, 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 go!
Entering
So,
5 ways.
no idea what just happened. We dumped the item. I think we got bumped into the warp gate, and then we skipped the warp. So that's terrifying. Although I feel like we were just here because this ship is still a pirate ship. I seem to remember this thing. That was kind of weird. I think we just got bumped a little bit and it freaked out just a hair. Our illegal good is probably floating around here somewhere too. You can press Shift M to change that little map HUD in the bottom right hand corner. Just change what you're seeing there. Goes from like a 3D map to a top down view. Shift R will do an overlay where it tells you what you're targeting or just looking at the map. So this gives me more information about the ship. There are some pretty nice commands that I've not really set up yet. Let's see if we can get closer to the big ship without... No, I think we are going to piss someone off. That's just one ship. Okay, so let's see how close we can get without getting blown up. There's some mods that let you, or not mods, there's just some commands that let you target subsystems. So right there, I left-clicked on that. But this basically lets me sub-target. It's kind of like reminiscent of the old X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, which I love, that you can target, and which you should. You know, if you want to disable a really powerful warship, well, then why don't you target, you know, the weapon turrets, right? If you want to stop it from fleeing, you can target the engines and the thrusters, and the ship will be dead in the water until it repairs itself. So right here I've selected the matter-antimatter drive. If you look down there in the bottom right, I think there's some little thrusters too. Nope, on this ship there's not. But again, there's, you know, there's freaking weapons everywhere on this ship. There's turrets, basically. And I think there's a command to cycle through these, like home and end, but for some reason for me they never quite work. So I normally, what I do is I fly pretty close. If I'm trying to sub-target something like the engine, I have to just kind of get close to it and left click around a bit until I happen to get lucky and target the engine. You can still damage it without having it targeted, it just does make it easier to know what you're looking at. So this is a turret, looks like a missile turret. I'm amused that we have negative relations with these guys, but they're just kind of letting me float around and inspect the ship, I guess. And I'm curious if I attack him, if a bunch of other ships will suddenly come out of the fighter bay here. So I'm going to swap some, let's see, V-Crushers, Meteorites. I have no idea which missiles are good, by the way. I'm just cycling through them here. Let's do that V-Crusher, seems nice. So we'll do a pass. We'll kind of come at this guy, try to swing in a lot of damage, and then zoom away from the capital ship, because we definitely don't want to get those big turrets in our face. I think it's turning, which is going to be a pain right now. Alright, here we come, and launching a bunch of missiles. That might... Oh, they're... Okay, those are dumbfire missiles. Not great. Alright, so we're going to go ahead with our plan. Kind of burn out of the way. Alright, duly noted. V-Crushers are dumbfire. So we'll go to Meteorites. We'll try these instead. And maybe because they aggressed on me, all of a sudden now that they're being targeted by the station, just hilarious. So I fired a pair of Meteorites. Again, they seem to be dumb missiles. Holy crap. Eating a little bit. I think that's the big trade ship hitting us. Okay, shield's critical. We're just gonna burn straight out and do a little dance. I think that is indeed the massive trade ship beating us up here. So I'm trying to burn just away from that a little bit. Probably now we have the little ship on us too. Oh, we have friends. Okay. Oh, we are so dead. Okay. Got it. We're gonna burn towards the station. Save us. Bulk station goods. Now missiles are bad. Can we see our destruction from 3D? Third person? I think once we get inside the station here, we're going to be a little bit protected.
Cargo secured and whole.
There we go. God, they're so aggressive. Alright.
Trade offers stored in ship computer database.
Alright, let's turn around and see if we can still find these guys that are fighting. Let's check the radar, check the map. Shift E, I believe, targets the nearest enemy ship. I don't see any. So I think they actually all got popped. Well, that's terrifying. The I think the pulse laser has a little marker on it to indicate it's been damaged, so it's not going to fire as efficiently. So, this would be a good time to talk about repairing, because the ship is literally on fire. Let's take a look at comms. Stop first, so I don't fly into something while I'm sitting here. Ship services, I think we need an engineer.
Hello, pilot. What can we offer you?
Okay, so we need to find somewhere with a engineer. Let's plot a course to this engineer. Okay.
This is the Albion Skunk. Requesting...
Permission to dock. We look forward to seeing you.
Ship services engineer, I think it's this person here. Of course you can't calm them. God, that's batshit crazy. Alright, so you will go run and find this person. Again, that's part of what I think was some of the frustration with X Rebirth, is that simple stuff like, hey, repair my ship, you can't just dock and request that as a service. I really hope that kind of the usability, the UI features was a big point of improvement for the next game. So, licensed brokers, I'm just checking out some of these other folks. I think these are all traders. You'll see little symbols above their head. So our person's up above.
Hello, pilot. What can we offer you?
Okay, repair everything. It's going to cost 18,000. Perfect.
Goodbye for now.
Alright. I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and I'm going to save the game, go back to the menu, and remove just the noise, the station PA announcement system, just because that tends to be a bit loud, and it's a little bit awkward when you're out in space hearing PA announcements. So, I will put a cut in here. Please, if you enjoyed it, continue watching. I'll keep putting some content up here for the rest of the week in order to get ready for X4. So thanks for joining. I do appreciate any comments you leave, any suggestions, because if there's an easier way to do something, I'm all ears. So thank you very much for joining me.